wrapping up Macstock Conference and Expo. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by BetterHelp. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/MacVoices today and get 10% off your first month. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it's MacVoices Live, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. You could be in the chat room at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV, like a whole bunch of our friends are already, and we would welcome you, just like they would. We'd love to hear your comments on what we're talking about and hear your thoughts, whether you agree or not. That's what it's all about, is exchanging ideas. Tonight, we have a great panel. We have a number of things to talk about, both from the tech news standpoint, but also a little event that many of us attended over the weekend, and that was Macstock. But before we get to that, we're going to go around the room, find out who's here, and then we will take off. So this time, the order has been rearranged a little bit. Brian Flanigan-Arthurs is up in the top left of my screen. He just couldn't wait to get on here and talk about things. Brian, it's good to see you.
Oh, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it seems like I just saw you. Oh, that's right, I did.
Yeah.
David Ginsburg is in second place tonight. And I had the privilege of visiting David's home and seeing the other side of his office. So now I know what the whole thing looks like, not just the picture you see. David, great to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's always great to be here. It was great to see you in person, too.
Yeah, it absolutely was. We are honored and privileged to have the man himself, Mike Potter, the organizer of Macstock, join us. I can't believe he's still on his feet, because he had to lose all the sleep over the weekend. But Mike, it's great to have you, and thank you so much for a phenomenal weekend.
Oh, thank you, everyone, for being there. It was an absolutely fantastic weekend. We had knock them on their seats talks. I don't know. It was just phenomenal. I loved it. I love it every year.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about it as we go here, but I will say it 100 times over. It was just a terrific event.
Yeah.
Marty Jencius was at Macstock, and he was both a workshop presenter as well as a regular presentation presenter. That seems redundant, Marty, but it's good to see you then. Was good to see you then, good to see you now.
You know, I just couldn't get enough of the Chicago area, so I decided to hang around for tornadoes last night and spend some time in the basement working and watching the basement flood. So I'm glad to be home, and had a great weekend. Had a really great weekend.
Should I ask the basement of what, Marty?
Sure. My sister has a second property, and I was going to stay upstairs and continue to work on some project stuff that I was working on, and she kept texting me and said I needed to go to the basement and made me shoot a picture of me in the basement with Aileen. Yeah.
Sisters are good for that kind of concern. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here and you're in one piece. Speaking of being in one piece, Jim Ray, who was not able to join us at Macstock, but he's in one piece now here joining us on MacVoices Live. Jim, good to see you. We're sorry you didn't make it.
Sounds like you know something I don't know. If there's any question about how many pieces I'm in.
Listen, the world's getting crazier, Jim. You just never know. Yeah, please send us your radar picture.
I don't know if any of you talked to Eric, but apparently he encountered very serious flooding on the way home from Macstock, and he's lucky he made it. He almost went over a bridge apparently that had several inches of water that he wasn't able to see before he was in it.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, it was some pretty bad storms.
That's scary. Last but absolutely not least, joining us in the chat or in the live show tonight, Mr. Web Bixby, who was also at Macstock. Web, it was a real pleasure to get to hang out for an extended period of time this time with you.
Well, thank you. And Mike, I want you to know about the healing powers of Macstock. Okay.
Oh,
I won't get into all the gory details, but I had surgery and I've had problems with the wound where they did the incision healing, and I've been going to this wound clinic, and they said that for the last 3 weeks the healing process had stalled. And once you know it, I go to Macstock, I come home, and the incision had closed 3 centimeters after being open for a while. So
that's
Macstock heals.
Awesome.
That is
I think that
awesome.
needs-
And great to hear that.
I think
Absolutely,
that needs
Webb.
to be on the promotional literature next year.
I'm typing
And
it up
I
as
can
we
even show
speak.
you.
It's going into the notes for next year right now, Jim.
Yeah, Macstock heals. So.
Heels.
You didn't know you were going to have a centerfold tonight, Mike, did you?
Not my show.
Webb,
Good to
I
be
don't
here.
want to.
So.
I absolutely don't want to take any thunder away from Mike, but could it maybe have been those long hugs by Jeff Gammett?
No.
Could have been.
No,
No,
Okay.
no, please, no.
Okay. You'd rather have the wound? Is that what you're saying?
No, and I got a couple of short ones from Cindy. That kind of helped, but no, it wasn't
Okay.
Jeff. And I don't want him to think that. He's going to watch the stream later, I'm sure. I don't want him to think that.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I just was asking. Well, I thought it'd be fun, since Mike is kind enough to join us tonight, to just do a little debrief of what some of our favorite parts of Macstock are. And that may be a challenge because there were so many great parts. It's hard to pick out favorites. But I will ask, let's see, Brian and Dave and Marty and Webb, pick one favorite or one thing that really jumped out at you as either well, Webb, you were a first-time attendee. I think everybody else had been there before. So,
Was?
Brian, yeah, thanks, Dave. Brian, what was a favorite moment of yours?
There's so many great moments, and you see, from all the presentations, and people will be able to see, the virtual offerings of them down the road. But sometimes, in addition to the little takeaways and nuggets that you get from the presentations themselves, it's just those interactions that you have with people. And I was sitting, actually, it's too bad Eric, I know he's in the chat room, but not with us on the show tonight, but sitting next to him and conversing back and forth. And just like when somebody says something, that shoulder partner next to you and say, oh, that's a cool idea. I haven't thought about that. And even seeing his, like, we were both taking notes, and I was typing up notes on my laptop and he was jotting down things on his iPad. And, that's something that it's a skill set that I haven't done yet, and utilized, even just taking notes on an iPad in that same way. So not just the presentations, which were phenomenal. And, I always take away so many little nuggets off of everything. And you get from I've mentioned this to a couple of people, the content is amazing, but sometimes it's that workflow or the style or the nuances that come through about how the approach somebody takes to doing something that also is really neat too. And so even if the topic doesn't connect with me personally in a professional way, it may be connected with me for hobbies and things of interest, but also just, how things are done. And so just those types of things, I think overall are just awesome takeaways.
That's an interesting observation. I hadn't even really identified that, but you're right. Inevitably, you're talking to people, you're sitting beside different people, and you watch how they're absorbing the information. So that's a really great takeaway. I have to go back and contemplate that one a little bit. Dave, how about you? You've been at Macstock from the beginning, so you have a lot of fond Macstock memories, as I do. But what was a great takeaway from this year?
Yeah, no, it's I would add with Brian, the networking is just amazing. Just having the time to hang out with people, get to see people. It was great to see new faces. That's what I love, and I know Mike does too. Just seeing all these new faces joining us every year, and seeing all the excitement that comes with the event. And just presentations were just amazing. There was some great stuff. I mean, we all love Dave Hamilton, and the Mac Geek App was great. That we had a lot of fun watching them record the show after at the evening event. And Dave himself, yeah, he did a great. I mean, he did a great thing on podcasting. And some people were kind of like, I don't know, I'm not a podcaster. I really want to sit on this, but I saw a lot of people stay and stuck around and wanted to listen to Dave because there were some things. Wow, I didn't know that you could do that. There was stuff I learned I didn't know, and some of the tools he uses. So as with his workflows, but even Marty did a great job with his workshop as well as the AI event. That was really a great. And I'll give a mention to Kelly Gamont too. I think at first I was like, why am I doing this crocheting and doing all this? This is crazy, but. Her intent was just to get people to think, brain power, to help you think about things. And I'll admit I probably had the worst challenge out of most people that were there. I saw some a really long crochet. What she did was she had the crochet needle going and teaching us how to do just a simple stitch, and it was like I said, it was just a good brain power activity. And kind of something you'd be surprised to be at Macstock and thinking, oh, we're always talking about technology, but that was something that really stimulates the mind, gets the brain flowing. So it was that. So just on and on. There's just so many great things. And then the night events, everybody liked to hang out. Karaoke was a trip, and Marty did a great job with. And then I was actually shocked that we had like five. I think it was 5 people that had Vision Pros that they brought besides Eric and Marty. And
yeah, I was shocked too.
Yeah, that was amazing, including Adam Christensen, which was great to see him have one there as well. So people got to do that. So there was 2 little events that night, the Saturday night. So and so just on and on. Some of just the amazing of things that happened in Macstock, and well worth attending this event. It's just so much fun.
Mike, I'm going to save you for last because I will be anxious to hear your comments as we go through everyone else's. Marty, how about for you?
It was a different experience for me this time than previous times. And I think I've been to all of them except the first one. I know I wasn't at that. So it was different to be there this time because the last time I presented, it was my first time presenting, and most of my energy went around the anxiety of doing that. This time, I just really enjoyed presenting and doing the workshop, and I think I had some good content prepared. The surprise for me was what David already said. Eric and I thought we'd have a few people show up, wander in. We even thought we'd be able to cut a podcast during that time for Vision Profiles, but we just got flooded with folks, and they were all enthusiastic, all curious, and the people who came in and brought their headsets in, they started mirroring stuff, and then so we were all helping each other out in the process of doing demos. I know Chuck was in there, David was in there. I think Brian swung by for a little bit before he went to karaoke. And the challenge for me this time was, I've got to say this quietly because my wife is in the next room, being torn away from you guys in the evening to go out to dinner with my wife and my sister and brother-in-law. I had to give them kind of fair time, but I knew you had some dinners and I really wished I could have been there for that. So we'll see next time.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
Webb, you were the first time attendee here of the group. I'm anxious to really see what your both a particular favorite or favorite moments, but over just the overall tone of everything.
Yeah, it'd be easy to pick out. I didn't do a lot of the evening activities because I had some business homework that I had to do at night. So, but I loved what Dave Hamilton did. I loved what you did, Chuck, and the short film festival. But really, when it came right down to it, was just the people that I've known from this event. Got to hang out with you guys individually and personally and privately. but also seeing Cletus who we've seen on the chat room and getting to meet him. A shout out to you, Cletus. But yeah, all in all, it was just the people. And I started out doing the crocheting thing, and I'm not going to say that I came out as a pro, but I did pretty good. I was rather proud of myself. I had about 14, 16 inches by the time I got done. So, and I was late getting there. As a matter of fact, I wasn't going to do it. And you, Mr. Potter, you got me the ball of yarn and the crochet hook and made me get started. So,
Yep.
and then Cindy helped a little bit, and what is it, Robert F. Braun?
John F. Braun.
John F. Braun, excuse me. He got me started actually, but yeah, it's and there's I'll put it this way: the takeaway about the crocheting thing that I really liked was that if you screw up something early, then you keep going, you're just going to have to undo it and start over again. And isn't that the way our jobs go sometimes? In the IT world, we get to doing something and we mess up something early, we got to start over again. So I really appreciated that. So there you go. That's kind of my comments. But all in all, it was just the people, hanging out with the people.
About the crocheting, Cindy would go down the row and go, "Oh, look at David's doing a really nice job," and "Oh, look at Jeff. Jeff's doing such a wonderful job." And her comment consistently to me was, "And Marty's kind of doing his own thing, but that's good too." I've had that kind of backhands compliment growing up in school. So yeah, and that's nice too.
Hey, Marty, at least you got a comment. She'd come by me, look at mine, and just shake her head and go on. So,
yeah, I told Jeff that I was making him a friendship bracelet.
How did that go down?
Oh, he liked it. He enjoyed it.
Okay. I threw in the YouTube chat and asked anybody that was there if they had anything. Cletus said, for me, it was the people also. After dark activity, the classes, and I will echo that. I mean, it's hard. The people is, I think, the number one thing, is just seeing friends. And we had breakfast with a couple from Philadelphia that we'd never met before. That was fantastic. I talked to the mother and daughter who, Mike, who won the ECAM.
Yeah, they won the ECAM.
And I was delighted to see them because they will absolutely use it and dig into it. So, but just great people, top to bottom. And for me, I think it's kind of a tie. Well, I'm going to use my measurement by the most notes I took. I took more notes on Marty's AI session and Mike Schmidt's talks than any of the others. And that's taking nothing away from anyone. But just there was so much great information that was applicable to me in both of those. So Marty, you killed it. You taught me so much that I feel like I should have known about using ChatGPT that I did not. So
thanks.
Great job on that. Great job on that. Mike, you observed the Macstock from a little bit different angle, not as an attendee, but as the organizer. And I know that you have a lot of distractions going on because you're trying to make sure everything is going smoothly. But
yeah.
What are going to be your fondest memories or best memories of this year's Macstock?
I am absolutely not going to pick a favorite talk. I'm just not going to do it. They're all my children, right? They're the children of our presenters, and they all did such a phenomenal job. I will give a little shout out to Marty. Marty just does such a wonderfully engaging job every year. And I will say that there were two things that came up in the drive to Woodstock this morning with my wife. We carpooled to Woodstock because she has her shop there and I've got my office there. And there were two things that came up. And the first was the number of first timers who attended Macstock this year. And from all of them, Cletus included, and everyone who came up to me and mentioned that they're a first timer, Max, everyone said they had such a great time and they were looking forward to next year. And that just means so much to me. I said to one of them, that made my weekend. No, it made my year, because it's something you can't predict. Someone who's taking a chance on me, taking a chance on Macstock at the word of someone else, and then they come and they see it for themselves and they walk away saying, gosh darn it, I want to be there again next year. Oh, that means a lot to me. So that's one thing. The other thing that we brought up in the car was Marty's support talk. Janet didn't see this part of it, but when you surveyed the audience and said, what do you think the topics at our user group meetings are? And I have to paraphrase, because there's no way I can present this as well as Marty did. And I don't have your slide, Marty, but when you threw up health issues as one of the top topics at your user groups, I laughed out loud. I don't know if you heard me, but I laughed out loud at that. And then I think it was number 4, perhaps, the problem that was brought up in the previous meeting and is brought up again because they didn't try the solution that was offered in the previous meeting. And that's where I have to paraphrase, because the way you phrased it was just so perfect. Because all of us who do support, whether for a living or do it, informally for family and friends or what have you, have encountered all of that. But as far as Macstock itself, Macstock 8 itself is concerned, from an organizer standpoint, it has to be that we were all in one venue for the first time in 10 years. We had the hotel rooms, we had the conference rooms, and because of the generosity of the conference center, we had just about every single room in their conference center available to us. And that gave us the opportunity to host karaoke there at night. It gave us the opportunity to host Mac Geek Gab there at night. It gave us the opportunity to do the Vision Profiles meetup at night. And then when all that was over, to go hang out in the bar and restaurant area and just sit there and do what Brian said, chat with people and learn from each other and absorb how people do things differently. Or maybe how we do things the same. As I listened to Allison's talk this weekend and listened to her on Road to Macstock, I realized how very similar Allison and I are in terms of how we use our Macs. So those are the little things you can't pick up otherwise, unless you're there speaking with someone in person and interacting with them and having that back and forth conversation. And maybe the conversation is just about the Corn Palace in Mitchell, South Dakota. And Brian's laughing because we must have had a 45-minute conversation about that with Adam. So these are the kind of conversations you don't have when you're on MacVoices Live, or you don't have when you're a guest on someone else's show like Dave's show or what have you. So yeah, those kind of things are very special to me too. But gosh darn, as the presenter, I sure liked that we were all in one place. And even if someone wanted to go out, like Marty did with his family, and go out to dinner with them and spend some time with them, we knew that he was going to be coming back. So if we missed him at dinner, we'd see him after dinner. And that's awesome, because that sort of thing doesn't and hasn't happened in the past, and now it does. So I love that too.
In the chat room, Eric Bolden couldn't be here with us tonight, but he's in the chat room. He said, very enjoyable conversations. Really, really looking forward to next year. And Craig, in response to your comments, Mike, said, I laughed for the first 5 minutes of Marty's presentation.
Right.
So, yeah. Exactly. Brian, you brought up, though, something that I can definitely identify with, and that was the worst part of Macstock.
Yeah, I don't want to, say anything negative, but man, the day after, I think is the worst part, because it's the longest amount of time until it all happens again. So, yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. It seemed like you get there and you have especially Mike this year with the workshops, you have this whole nice long 3-day weekend, and all of a sudden you snap your fingers and it's Sunday night and you're wrapping up.
Yeah. Who did I share that with? I can't remember. But in the weeks leading up to Macstock, my to-do list grew so long, and then I'd knock stuff off, and then suddenly it would be long again. And I don't know how that happened. And then eventually, as we got to Thursday, that list got down to just one or two items, one of which was my Film Fest entry, which I did not finish for Wally. And I apologize, Wally, but I will have it ready for you next year. But all that builds up, and you wake up Friday morning. We're pre-set up because we did a lot of the setup Thursday, which was something that we could do for the first time this year. So we were ready to go Friday morning. And I think, wow, I got 3 days ahead of me. And again, that was a first for me. We've always had 2 days, except for the first year where we had one. But wow, 3 days. Then you wake up the next morning. Okay, good. I still have 2 days. And then you wake up Sunday and you say, oh my gosh, it's the last day. I can't believe it's the last day of Macstock. And it's just over like that. But the time that we had to fill those days was just so full of interaction, so full of conversation. Yeah, as all of them have already explained, we'll all take away something different, but I think we'll all remember it for some time to come.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. How much time did you spend on Instagram today? All those perfect photos might not tell the whole story. It doesn't look like it, but the people posting them have the same challenges and issues that you and I do. If you find yourself caught in the envy trap, you might want to look to therapy as a way to develop those guardrails and coping skills that will help you live your best life going forward. So if you want to look into therapy, look into BetterHelp. Flexible, entirely online, and suited to your schedule, BetterHelp gets you paired with a licensed therapist with just a quick questionnaire. And if you find that you don't sync up with that person, you can switch at any time and at no cost. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/MacVoices today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/MacVoices. Thanks to BetterHelp for supporting MacVoices. So I'm going to apologize. This is not my question. This came from Barry in the chat room. Barry wants to know, have the dates for 2025 been set yet?
No.
I always ask that question.
Yeah, give Mike a break, man. He needs just a little bit of rest and relaxation.
I do have, if we want to use the same venue again, I do have to have that conversation very, very soon, though. This facility fills up with events every weekend, all summer long. Summer in McHenry County is just busy everywhere. Having my office in Woodstock has something going on at least 2 or 3 times a week, every week in summer. And in Crystal Lake, this is the largest conference center in the area. So it gets booked up really quickly, whether it's weddings or whether it's, we had a very small taste of it, but this upcoming weekend is a major baseball event going on, and it's completely packed to the rafters with ball teams. So yes, if we want to use the same facility, I have to get on that pretty soon.
Well, there were ball teams there during Macstock too. So
yeah. So to Barry, I will probably get those dates announced sooner than later for a change. Yes, I'll try my best.
Great. Yeah, and I want to throw in too that the venue definitely enhanced things. No question about it. It made it easy. It made it easier for all of us to be together and stay together, even though there were groups that went out off property for dinner. Everybody came right back, and Kelly had the karaoke organized, as has been said. Eric and Marty had the Vision Pro thing. And even just the people hanging out in the bar were having a great time. So it was another gathering place.
Even when the power went out Sunday night, everyone had a great time in the bar.
Yep, exactly.
10 minutes. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't too bad.
except for the people who were watching the soccer final. They seemed
Yeah,
to be
that
a
was
bit
not so good
perturbed.
for them. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Janet was watching it up in the room and said, well, I just give up because she couldn't get it to come back on again.
Satellite.
Mike, before we leave the Macstock conversation, though, I want to make sure that, you know, we talk a little bit about how people can still experience Macstock, as far as from the digital pass part of it, and also the Macstock swag part of it, because you had great swag this year.
We did, you know, people like bags. I've done mugs in the past, and I've done sling bags in the past, and people were all over those sling bags. So I ordered more sling bags for this year. And then I also, just for a little variety, ordered lunch bags. And those were by far the most popular thing with everyone this year. They were great lunch bags. I took a couple for myself. That's the benefit of being the organizer. I took a couple for myself, but they're fantastic bags. And I like to have something really nice for folks to take home with them. Yeah, Marty's got one right there.
Yeah.
And so my sling bag ended up being a chip bag. A whole bunch of snacks in it right now. I was going to bring all the snacks to my office. It's crammed. Do you know how big that bag got? It's crammed with little snack bags right now, and I'm going to be taking it to the office. So it's my snack bag.
There you go.
How about the digital pass? Because we're talking about all these great presentations, and the folks that weren't there can still, well, it will eventually be able to see them.
Yes. That is my next task. So Macstock doesn't end for me when Macstock weekend ends. Now I take all the footage that we shot. Not only that Roger was directing for us, you know, he was at the eCam desk there, you know, taking all the footage and audio that was coming in and essentially creating the program for me, which takes a huge load off of my shoulders. But we did have some recording issues here and there, so I'll be taking some of the footage from the cameras and bringing that in Final Cut and, you know, kind of mixing things up a little bit. But once I get stuff edited and out, which usually takes about 30 days or so, once I get that all edited and out, then folks can catch up on the digital pass. And very often what I do with that is just start releasing it and then let folks know that it's starting to come out. And then as the additional talks come out, I just keep adding them to the page. So that's typically what I do there. I don't make people wait until they're all done and all out. Once some are out there, then I let folks know, hey, these talks are out there and you can start to enjoy them. But that's my next. Well, no, my next task. My car has been parked in my garage here at the house for 2 days, just crammed to the roof of the car and to the sides with stuff from Macstock. So I have to take that load to the office, come back home, cram it full again, take that load to the office. Then I can start editing the digital pass. So a couple days, I'll get started on that.
And the swag is still will be available on the Macstock site that you still have left.
What's left will go up on the Macstock site. I'll have that up there, and I'm going to start working on the digital pass first, but I'll have that up there pretty soon. It's not that hard actually to get it up there quickly. I have to do a count and see what I have, so I don't oversell anything. But do a little count, see what I have, get it up on the site, and then I know we have some extra mugs. We have some extra sling bags. We do have some extra lunch bags, so I'll get those up there on the site, and folks will be able to pick. Oh, and the buttons, those were popular again this year. That I started something last year where I recreate the designs of the shirts on a button, and I call it my T-shirt time machine buttons. And we released the first series of them last year, and I kept it up this year with this year's T-shirt design, and that will be available on the site as well. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. The digital pass is on there. It's all under the what do I call it? Do I call it the swag store? Or I think I just call it the shop, the Macstock shop. Macstock shop. You can go on there and you can purchase a digital pass, and then I'll have everything categorized by what do I have? Accessories, apparel, collectibles, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right.
A comment, Mike. The pins for the film festival were incredible.
Oh, I had fun designing those. Yeah.
Man, they were incredible.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that you know what? The folks I used to make those pins liked them so much that they put it out on social media after they were made, which was
Wow.
pretty cool, which
Yeah.
was really neat. Yeah, it's a director's slate, right? So the
Right.
folks who submit a film to the Short Film Festival get one of these pins. And so it looks like a director's slate, but if you look at it closely, you'll see the bottom half of it, that you clap against, is an iPhone. And then that's where it's got the logo, and then you got the clapper on top. Yeah. So it was fun to put that together. Thank you.
One other thing, and I said we were going to end with that, but we're not, because Cletus brought up something that I'm embarrassed to say I've kind of overlooked, and that is a big shout out to all the volunteers who helped.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Brian did an amazing job of acting as MC. Roger, of course, he was in that chair and intent on that production every step of the way. Janet, your wife, and your dad, Cindy was back there helping too. And I'm afraid I'm going to overlook somebody. So Mike, jump in if I'm missing anyone, please.
You know what? Janet mentioned this morning, and I'm going to give an extra shout out to two kind of ad hoc volunteers this year. And I think next year we're going to do something a little bit more official with them. But Bob Wood and Bob Yeager, two fantastic gentlemen who come out every year. And along with my dad, Bob Potter, they come out every year, and the very first thing out of their mouths, and credit to you too, Marty, you do this very thing yourself, but the Bobs, or as Janet calls them, the Bob Squad,
or Bob Squared.
Bob's, well,
Squared?
we have three.
Bob Cubed.
We have three.
Cubed,
Bob Cubed,
yeah.
right? So Janet calls them the Bob Squad, but Bob Yeager and Bob Wood, first thing out of their mouths, how can we help? And they're almost always standing by the table there, ready to answer questions, and more importantly, taking first timers under their wing and kind of giving them the lay of the land and telling them what things are like and what to expect and all that. They're just, their help is invaluable. So I'm looking to see if maybe we can make that a little bit more official for them next year. But yeah, Brian Henson, always, what did I call him in my thank you? Something like my right hand volunteer or something like that. Because he's right there making sure that the presenters are mic'd up, making sure that they're ready to go with water and their laptop set up and all that. But I know he loves to do introductions. I know he loves to do that kind of stuff. And we were in the back of the room chatting, and I said, Brian, do you want to MC this year? So this was like completely on the fly. I said, do you want to just do that? Do all the introductions? He's like, I'd really like to. I said, it's all yours. Do it. And stepping forward like that and taking that little bit off my shoulders really opened me up to pay attention to other things that I need to pay attention to during the weekend. So yes, thank you, Brian, for doing that. Thank you, Roger, for taking care of the Ecamm Live station. Thank you to my wife, Janet, my dad, Bob, and his wife, Barb, and Cindy, of course. Everybody really steps up, and I think they have fun doing it. We won't get Janet on and ask her, but I think they all have fun doing it. I'm kidding. Yeah, it's a good time, and it's a great weekend thanks to the volunteers. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you, Cletus. Thank you, Cletus.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so easy. We all get so enthusiastic about the attending, and sometimes it's easy to overlook the folks that are making it so much fun. So
yeah, yep, absolutely.
Well, when you're ready to start the road to Macstock next year, just say the word. But there's no pressure.
Will do.
Mike, please.
I'll be ready to hit the road when you are.
Yep. Listen, please stick around for the rest of the show if you can. If you need to go, I understand completely. But
absolutely,
it's great to have you. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. you will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.